Okay, so I kind of realize that there are a group of people out there who just don't like Generation X. And I don't blame them because everyone has their favorite X book, right? Like for some people, they only love Wolverine. For some people, they only love Cable. And for me personally, I love the main X-Men books, but also like X-Force as well. Everyone has their own favorite X book. The reason why I'm bringing this up because, again, there were a few people like in the comments like, man, I just hate Generation X. Ugh. And I'm kind of like, dang, y'all really do hate this team? I kind of see why. Like for me personally, they're just an okay team, but at the same time, they're still part of the X world. We gotta cover them. Now, with all that being said, we're gonna cover X-Men Annual number 95. Also, real quick, guys, mind you that I'm still somewhat sick, so when this video comes out, you're kind of like, man, fresh sound a little bit, off. The reason why, because I'm still sick, I feel better, mostly, but, still getting over that sickness. Now, with all that being said, when it comes to X-Men Annual number 95, it's one of those X books where they're trying to promote the brand new X team. And at that time, it was Generation X. How we get more fans to read this brand new X book with a brand new X team of teenagers? Well, you put that team in different X books as a way to promote them. And so this book right here is a very small Generation X X-Men crossover. Really, we only get one character in this actual crossover, and that will be Husk. And the reason why, because her older brother is Cannonball, who had just joined the X-Men in the earlier parts of our coverage over the X-Men. And that's why, as we dive into the opening pages of this book, we really do pick up with Cannonball heading over to the brand new school where Generation X is currently at, being taught by Emma Frost and also Banshee. And so once you do have Cannonball arrive, he goes straight for Emma Frost. Now let's not forget, between these two characters, there's still a lot of bad blood because for Cannonball, he was there in the early days of New Mutants leading up to X-Force, but he was there when it came to Emma Frost and her Hellions. But also, the Hellions died technically under her watch. And so for Cannonball, he's very afraid of the possibility that his sister, who's currently a student at Emma Frost School, could possibly die. But after their interaction, you did have Cannonball be able to find his sister. Now, they do catch up by, roughhousing a tad bit, but once they are done, you did have Cannonball saying like, hey, you gotta come back home. And the reason why, because, well, our sister, our younger sister, is possibly in trouble. And that would be Joelle. Now, technically for me, I kind of feel like I said the name wrong. I did look it up and Google said like, hey, it's pronounced Joelle. It's French. But either way, this is the younger sister to Cannonball and also Husk. Now, currently, we see her with another character, and that would be a guy known as Preacher. Now, for Preacher, he's been having these weird dreams where he is able to see dark future things happening down the road for this reality. And so every time he had one of these dreams, he then goes out of his way to paint what he saw in those dreams. And some of these things kind of represent dark things happening when it comes to the X-Men. But also him kind of wondering, what do all these different things mean? Like, what's coming for this reality down the road? Now, we do learn here that for Joelle and Preacher, they had left their homes and had joined a whole brand new organization. And that would be Humanity's Last Stand, a brand new organization being brought to us in Marvel Comics. Now, here's the thing, because they're technically being labeled as a survivalist group. And the reason why, because their main goal is to make sure the human race survives and the mutant race officially dies off. And so for the Guthrie family, this is an actual issue because Cannonball and Husk are mutants, but their younger sister had joined a pro-human organization. But this now leads us back over to Cannonball and Husk. And matter of fact, we see them with a few other members of the X-Men, Storm, Bishop, and also Wolverine, as they all head over to the home of the Guthries. Now, when they do arrive, you have Cannonball go straight over to his mother because he wants to know what happened to his little sister. Now, his mom, they tell him right off the bat, like, hey, your sister left home with a young boy known as Preacher. And apparently, they have joined a brand new organization that's pro-human. And that right there is a major problem. Now, for Cannonball and Husk, they want to go alone and try to sneak into the camp, find their sister, and bring their sister back home. Now, for Storm, that's not okay. She wants to go with them. But for Cannonball, he says, like, you guys can't fit in. Now, that could mean a lot of different things, but it's him saying, like, hey, out here, we are the best two options, so you three guys stay here until we're able to come back. Now, when Cannonball and Husk sneak in, they sneak in at the, well, technically right time because they're at a moment where there's a rally going on, where you have Preacher begin to speak about what he has saw for this reality, how mutants down the road is going to bring in the apocalypse to this world. Now, while he's on stage, he also has the girl he loves at that time, and that would be Joelle. And so for Cannonball and Husk, they see their younger sister up there and kind of realize, okay, she's deep inside this organization. Getting her to go back home just got a whole lot harder. For our heroes, they don't realize they're being watched on security cameras by a mysterious character. Now, we're going to figure out who this guy is down the road, but for him, this is perfect. And the reason why, because he can use Cannonball and Husk as examples of how evil mutants are for his pro-human organization. So he does set out a few robots to go after our two heroes. But this kind of leads into a conversation between Joelle and also Cannonball. Now, for Cannonball and us, the readers, we kind of realize what's going on with Joelle. It's the whole idea that she feels like Cannonball and Husk are now the family favorites because they are mutants. They got powers. Oh my God, they look so cool. Now, for me personally, it's just her being jealous because she's not a mutant. She has no powers at the moment. And so she kind of hates the idea that her brother and her sister are so much cooler than she is when it comes to their family. And so to her, she's like, yeah, I finally found a place where I fit in, where I feel special, where I feel like I belong. And so technically right now, it's just Cannonball trying to convince his sister that where she's at the moment is completely wrong. But to her, it's kind of like, no, you're just saying that because you want to make sure that you stay special, that your race stays special because you are a mutant. But in the middle of their conversation, you did have Cannonball be attacked by these armed soldiers. And so you do have our hero try his best to fight against them. But the problem is he is easily overpowered by them. And so he kind of realized he has no choice. He has to go ahead and retreat and go back home where the rest of the X-Men are currently at. Now for Husk, she did not leave. Matter of fact, when it came to Cannonball and Joelle, when they had their conversation, she said, you know what? Let me go ahead and just sneak around this facility real quick. But while you have her listening in on that conversation, Cannonball does crash in front of the X-Men. Like, hey, made it back home. He's badly beaten. And that tells Storm, like, okay, yeah, we got to go back there, help Joelle, but most likely help out Husk before things go south for her as well. And the thing is, she does get in trouble. Things do go south very quickly for her because she's then easily captured from behind. Now, the book does not really tell us what member of the Trask family is here at the moment, but thanks to the power of Google, we kind of find out that this is Simon Trask, the brother to Bolivar Trask. At first, I thought it was the son, but apparently it is not. Either way, for Simon Trask, he's the one in charge of this organization. Now, for the X-Men, as they're getting ready, you have Cannonball tell the X-Men what he had heard. And of course, the last name of the person in charge of the entire organization. And of course, that would be Trask. And so for the X-Men, they're like, hey, we gotta go. If the Trask are involved, that means huge problems down the road for the mutant race. Now for Preacher, he had another vision, which of course does change his mind about this organization. He's like, hey, listen, in this vision, I saw a blonde woman getting beat down almost to her death. And for Joelle, she realized that what he saw one of his visions is, well, her sister, Husk. And so she begins to freak out as well. Now, the book does kind of wrap up very quickly here because you do have Cannonball, Wolverine, and Storm try their best to save Husk, while you have Bishop go out of his way to get Joelle and Preacher the heck out of there. Now, both groups are confronted by these armed soldiers. But we do kind of find out that these armed soldiers are really Sentinels, Nimrod Sentinels, the advanced series. So for our heroes, they're kind of like Nimrods are hard to beat. They're almost unstoppable. So for our heroes, they're kind of in a very tight situation. Now, for Wolverine and Storm, Cannonball, and Husk, they learned that these robots are Nimrods. That technically, there's nobody inside those armored suits. For Bishop, he has no idea. But for Bishop, it's kind of like, listen, I gotta find a way to deal with these robots. So once you do have the rest of the team be able to make it out of the cave, you have Bishop close the cave off, trapping the Nimrods inside the cave with their people, with their master. And so for Bishop, he's kind of like, okay, cool, the day is saved. But for Storm, she's kind of wondering like, hey, did you know that they were robots or the possibility that they were humans? For Bishop, he does not answer the question at all. He just walks away. But luckily for our heroes, they did save Husk. Now, for our heroes, they have to leave because you do have the organization called the Cops. And they're telling the Cops, like, we were just attacked by the X-Men. So if the X-Men stay, it looks very bad on their part. So they do leave. But when they get back home, you kind of have Bishop kind of hint at the idea that Preacher is a mutant, that the organization was just using Preacher's visions as a way to push their agenda across the world, to get more members to join their organization. But the book does end on the note where Joel does go back home and our heroes leave to go back to the home of the X-Men. And so this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.